We have Caro, and we'll be speaking about her experience learning Arabic, and we'll be comparing my knowledge as a teacher and her knowledge as a student, and maybe this will help you decide in which Arabic you should choose. One of the first questions that every one of you should ask themselves before they start studying Arabic, before they decide which Arabic to study, is what options are there? What options are there when you decide that you want to study Arabic? Can you tell us what options you found them at the top of the options?
Yeah. So I think it's good to have an overview of the different kind of clusters in the dialects. Like you can find dialects that are similar to each other, and some of them are really far from each other.
But before the dialects, there is also
modern standard Arabic.
Fusha.
Yeah.
And a lot of people actually start Fusha as they are in the university because a lot of professors recommend Fusha. But do you recommend Fusha for everyone?
So it depends on what you want to do. If you really want to study scholarly Arabic, I think Fusha is very useful. But then also you might be interested in not modern standard Arabic, but the Quranic Arabic. If you want to be kind of an Arabic scholar, I think you should learn everything. You should learn Quranic Arabic, modern standard Arabic, and the dialect. That's what they teach at uni here as well, for example. But there's not so much focus on the dialect, to be honest.
But would that be useful for you if you are trying to converse with people?
Exactly. That's the question. So if you don't want to be a scholar, you just want to go travel, you want to connect with people from the different countries of the Arab world, then it's not useful probably to learn Fusha because it sounds really weird in the street. It sounds very off.
So what we're saying here is that, first of all, you have to decide what is your goal after learning Arabic. If your goal is to read literature, to write literature, read literature, translate it, if your goal is religious, like you're trying to know the Quran, you're trying to know the religious texts, then Fusha and older Arabic might be the one for you. But if you are not interested into that and you are more into communicating with people and spoken Arabic, Fusha might not be for you. Let's say Fusha might be for you because it might actually speed your process. But I wouldn't recommend that you stay in Fusha for 3 years before you starting a dialect. Because a lot of people, from my experience as a teacher, spend like 2 to 3 to 4 years studying Fusha in their university. And then after this, they have always been thinking, oh, I will study Fusha for 3, 4 years, and then I will go and study one of the dialects, and like all will work out great because I will have a good foundation. But not everyone does that. A lot of people just do those 3, 4 years of Fusha, and then after that, it's a waste of time because they forget all the Arabic they have learned, and it's like they haven't done any Arabic studying. So again, consider your goal and then decide what it is. If your goal is, again, literature or building a strong foundation, Fusha might still be for you. But if you really care the most about talking to people, communicating, watching TV, movies, cinematic things, I am not sure spending a lot of time doing Fusha is the right thing. You might actually just start with the dialect directly.
And also another thing is because the dialects, grammar and words are way simpler and more intuitive to learn, in my opinion. So you will be faster learning the dialect and you will be able to communicate with people very soon. You don't need to write to be able to already communicate. Writing is great, and I love to have it as a tool, and like also to read signs in the street or menus or whatever, writing and reading. But you don't need to be intimidated by the letters already. I think you can already start with some of the words, and then you get motivated. For me, it's always very motivating to be able to communicate with people a little bit. And then with this motivation, I can dive deeper into the language and go into the writing, for example, if there's a different writing system also.
So,
like that.
okay, so we have decided that if you are interested in classical Arabic literature, actually also journalism and reading articles, because that's also mostly done in Fusha, listening to the news and Al Jazeera and other sources like that, then Fusha might be a little bit for you. Documents and stuff like this also might be related more to Fusha. But if you're more interested in communicating with people and speaking and actually integrating into the culture and having a daily interaction with the people, this might not be for you. Because I have another question for her as someone who's learning Arabic as a second language. how would people react to you if you went and spoke to them in Fusha, in modern standard Arabic?
I think it would be kind of funny for most people because you sound overly formal for the situation. Like if you try to order a sandwich in Fusha, they will be like making a funny face, and maybe they will be still appreciating that you try and not just speak English to them, but still they will be like kind of laughing a bit. Like,
but my question also is, would they be speaking back to you in Fusha?
No, probably not. Or like maybe they would make an effort, but like many people don't even speak very, very much Fusha. Like, or they kind of would struggle to speak Fusha if they are not from a very intellectual and a background that have studied a lot, and maybe focused a lot on learning Fusha because it's not the daily language.
Exactly. And okay, this takes me to the next question. So we have decided that, like, depending on your need, you might choose Fusha because, again, if it's religious interest that you have, Fusha might be for you because Fusha will get you closer to Quran and literature from the religious context. So it might be for you after all. But if you decided not to go for Fusha and to go for one of the dialects, what dialects are let's say what dialects are not most important, because all dialects are important. It depends where you want to go, because there is like every country basically has its own dialect and some are closer to others than others. But what would you say are the most common dialects to learn from the Arabic dialects?
I think in this point you could maybe put a map in the video to show the different similarities, like the Maghrebi is kind of similar, Egypt and Sudan are a bit more similar, then the Shami dialects are more similar, and then the Khaliji and Saudi Arabics are a bit more similar to each other. But I think the most common in my perception, if you look at media, like series, movies, all these things, Egyptian is very, very common. And most people understand Egyptian because of this, because of the series and movies that are mostly in Egyptian Arabic, which are very funny. And I totally recommend them for immersing yourself also in a dialect if you want to choose Egyptian.
Which also makes it so easy for people to learn the language.
Oh yeah,
because like you want materials that will help you, like you want to be able to watch a movie and listen to some music, and the music industry is massively produced in Arabic, in Egyptian Arabic, and the Hollywood of the Middle East is the Egyptian cinematic industry. So both are in Egyptian Arabic, so just so you know that as well. And also, Egypt is the most populated country in the Middle East and in the Arabic speaking countries. So Egypt alone has more than 100 million people. And the whole Middle East has between 300 millions and 400 million people. And so Egypt alone has about a third of the population of the Middle East. So you have to put that all into consideration before you decide.
Yeah, I think so. For all of these reasons, the Egyptian dialect can be very interesting for you, and it was also for me. And I also personally think it sounds really nice and soft and like lovely. And plus, there's a lot of humor in the language and in the sayings and these kind of things. And this helps me a lot when learning a language, or it makes it very joyful to learn this language for sure. I think also for me personally, it was also a personal decision because I traveled to Egypt. And actually, the same year I traveled to Lebanon and Jordan, which was also a very beautiful experience. But I stayed the most time in Egypt. I stayed 6 weeks. And I made friends there. And so I had a personal reason to want to learn that dialect and to connect more to my friends there and maybe to come back, which I did, and spend more time there. But I think it's the best way actually to choose a dialect is a personal connection. If you, for example, let's say you love Tunisia and you travel to Tunisia and you made some friends there, then learn Tunisian Arabic, or whatever, whichever place you like. A friend of mine, she was in Oman, she loved it there. Maybe I would tell her, look, you know what, why don't you learn the dialect from there? I think the personal connection makes you motivated and gives you also a reason to use the language, because then you can travel back to that place and impress your friends. That's a great reason for learning languages.
But before we move to another dialect and how widely it is spoken, I would like to add one more thing about the Egyptian dialect. The Egyptian dialect is also not only the understood dialect in Egypt, it is the most understood dialect in all of the Middle East. Like, most likely, if you meet anybody from the Middle East and you're speaking Egyptian Arabic, they will understand you, right?
That's true.
So this is something also to consider before you decide in which dialect that you will go for. Also, mostly they will understand Levantine dialect, but more the Egyptian than anything else, I would say, because again, the music industry is mostly in Egypt. The cinematic industry is mostly in Egypt. So a lot of them grow watching our movies and listening to our music. And some of their even artists like born in Tunisia or born in Lebanon, like they would act in Egyptian movies, speaking Egyptian dialects, like if they are Egyptian, and they will sing in Egyptian Arabic, like if they were Egyptian, like Nancy Agram. Nancy Agram is not even Egyptian, but she sings in Egyptian Arabic. Or Haifa Wahbi is, I don't remember where she is from, but she's also not Egyptian. So many singers who are singing in Egyptian dialect are not even Egyptian. So also know this fact. But if you are wondering between Egyptian and another dialect, what other dialect is there that is widely spoken by many countries? This dialect would be
the Shami dialect, the Levantine dialect, and which would be spoken in like Syria, Lebanon, Palestine, Jordan, this area. Yeah.
So the Levantine area, or the Mantiqat Sham. So this Levantine dialect is a very common dialect also, with a little bit of a small variation between the different countries in the Levantine area. So Lebanon and Syria, they are still speaking Levantine, but it's a little bit different. And it's also a little bit different from Palestinian. Palestinian also is a little bit closer to Egyptian. Because like, especially if you are from the side that is closer to Egypt, then you use some of the words that Egyptians use because of the closeness, and because in the past when we used to be able to cross to the other sides and had more connections with each other, like a lot was exchanged. So the Levantine is the second most recommended dialect usually to be learned, because also it's widely spoken by many people. And in my opinion, as a result of the migration that happened after the Arab Spring, and a lot of Syrian people have ended up in Europe or the US, like your place of work or what you are doing for life might get you to interact more with people from the Levantine area. So if this is the case for you, this might be the dialect for you.
This is what I also wanted to recommend. If, like, for example, here in Austria, we have a lot of Syrian people. And if you want to work here and somehow will be in contact with them, it might be really useful to learn the Syrian dialect, as he was just saying. And for example, we also have some Syrian friends here. That's always fun. And I have a hard time understanding them sometimes because I'm so used to Egyptian. So.
But at the same time, you still understand them enough, right?
A little bit, but I honestly I struggle with it a little bit more, and I might have to get into their dialect a bit more to understand them better. For a native, it's different. I think you have an easier time understanding.
My question is, can they dumb their language a little bit for you, and then you understand it?
I think so. I think they adapt to my like the Egyptian pronunciation and the vocabulary a little bit. And also one of my good Syrian friends, he lived in Egypt for 3 years before coming here. So obviously he can switch.
Yeah. And so this is something also to consider, that they can always dumb the language a little bit for you to speak a little bit closer to Egyptian. I'm not saying Egyptian is better or any is better. We're just saying that
maybe don't say dumb. You say they can adapt the language.
They can adapt or speak a little bit easier for you to understand, which is not the same for Egyptians. Like Egyptians usually would not be able to make their language lighter or closer to your language as Levantine or Moroccan, but the other way around is the one that is possible.
And that's very funny, actually. Like when we were in Egypt, and there was a lot of Moroccans and Tunisians in our traveling group, and when they spoke with the Egyptians had a hard time understanding Moroccan or Tunisian, but the people from there could understand Egyptian pretty easily. So that's an interesting fact.
I think this is also something to consider. Like I recommend Egyptian or Levantine mostly, because I think it is the most likely that you would use often. But again, it depends on your needs. So I put Egyptian on the top, Levantine as second. But also a lot of people are interested in Moroccan dialect. And Moroccan dialect is a very beautiful dialect. If you like Morocco and you'd like to live there, Moroccan dialect is actually quite different from ours. So you might just start with Moroccan right away. And they call it El Darija. So maybe that would be the one for you. So those are the things that you should be considering before you start learning Arabic. Remember, there is also other dialects. There is Iraqi and other things. I'm just giving you the most common ones that people decide on when they are deciding to study Arabic. It might not be what your preference is, but now you can go further and do your research if something else is the thing that interests you.
If you find this video useful, subscribe to Islam's channel. You will see more from his podcast, and sometimes I will be here as a guest. And also comment what dialect you are learning or which one you're most interested in, and tell us why. So see you next time.
And until next time, I wish you luck in your journey learning Arabic. You can do this. You got it. I know it takes time, but enjoy it. Try to make it more as fun or playing a puzzle and use your brain capacity. And you got this. And until next time, مع السلامة.
مع السلامة.
Bye bye.
Bye.